It's the energy.
It's energy.
And I'm like, don't kill the energy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Reroute it.
Reroute it.
Use it, man. Because people who know when you don't like what's going on.
That's
it's
true.
like you can tell it translates.
Yeah, it's translating.
And it's like,
exactly.
It's like, what are you doing? It changes stuff around.
Yeah.
Like, but we always change the stuff around because we leveling up.
Yeah.
So what we were talking about was getting into some audio equipment.
Yes.
Like, I know some of us are just using our phones. I've even seen videos where people don't even use the lavalier type mics. And I'm trying to tell you, at least the lavalier mic. At least get that. Because the sound coming to your camera is cool, but that immediate sound from right here is even better.
Yeah.
Like it just makes it
much more richer.
Way more richer because there's times where we didn't have this and we were just getting the the room sound. And you don't want the sound of the room so much unless that's what you're looking for. And that's not what a lot of people are getting on podcasts to hear.
Yeah.
And
it's just tips, guys, for people who are podcasting. We just want to kind of give you a general consensus of what we're dealing with and what we want to try to level up to.
Let's go to the tips on podcasting right here on the D-D-Leveling-up podcast. And if you don't know, now you know. That's guys, like and subscribe right now. Go to the comments, leave a comment, ask a question. Yes. If you need to know anything about podcasting, we're here to answer these questions, okay?
Yes.
If you got any comments or concerns or things that we could do better, you can write that in the comments.
Yeah,
Go
please.
ahead.
We do like constructive criticism. I did talk to some people this week about just even the profile view that we have. And basically that people, when they start seeing you head on, if you know how we're facing this way toward the camera, like us being crossed, your eyes don't have to focus on two different people at the same time because you have to look back and forth like almost like a tennis court.
Especially with a one camera setup.
Exactly.
So we're also working on, there's some future things we're working on to make this more than a one angle, one shot thing.
Correct.
All right. There's gonna be some edits coming in you guys' ways. This week, leveling up. What I did to level up in the podcast was we recorded Saturday, I edited Sunday, I posted Sunday, and scheduled Sunday.
Wow.
So the rest of my week, the rest of my week that I usually took all week to put out something just got empty. I was like, what am I going to do with the rest of this time?
Yeah.
So I say, okay, cool. What do I do with the rest of this time? Okay, cool. It's time to find something else to work on the podcast.
Yeah.
So upgrading our equipment is one thing. Also changing the conversations just a little bit, which we're going to get into on the next podcast. We'll talk about changing up the conversations, getting into these current event type situations. It's really going to be dope. But first thing is make sure your sound is crispy.
Yes.
All right. Number one, make sure your sound is crispy.
Number one.
All right. Just using your phone, unless it's really close to you and you're like using like a handheld and you're in a closed room, it's not going to sound that great.
Because it's a closed environment.
And the first thing people want to hear on a podcast is
your
voice.
Exactly.
It's your voice in a good way.
Yeah.
You know? So plans. Get you an interface. If you don't know what it is, just look it up. It's a musical interface. Get you a microphone, iPad. You can even use your phone. To record this. You can use your phone.
Correct.
You don't have to use these big machines that I want to get.
Yeah, we want to get. Cause
I got a Christmas list for this D&D podcast.
Schedule budget for certain specific things we want to get. You know,
and that's another thing. We took we were taking our budget and allocating that budget. Second thing to do in your podcast is when you get a budget, allocate certain percentages of money toward certain things. Marketing.
Also for your equipment. And also for savings. For other things. Because you might need money for a rainy day. Not necessarily we need money for a rainy day in terms of financials, but we might decide that there's something that we might need at a certain point and we want to have funds, or at least a buffer to get those things, because there might be an event that we decided we want to go to, and now you already start saving money toward that event. So some of these events can be costly over time, and equipment can be costly over time, and also marketing can be costly over time. So these are ongoing operational costs. So you want to be prepared to have money set aside, just so, like, even if you got to the point where you started making a certain amount of profit during your business. And this is a business. And if you're creating this, you got to start thinking of it as a business. And if you're going to operate it, there's going to be times where you have hills and valleys, where you're going to have turns and things that you're not aware of. So even if everything is going great at a certain point, there can be a downturn, and you have to have an adjustment or a plan or contingency for that.
Guys, we don't have to start. My biggest pet peeve with my culture is that we believe in this starting all over thing.
Yeah.
Starting from the bottom. No. No.
Yeah.
Like, nobody else is doing that. And even if you are, you're like 1 out of a million people that can do that and make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't always start. You can't always start at the bottom. Like, if somebody sets you up to not start from the bottom, stop doing that.
Yeah.
Okay? You're already at the bottom if you ain't made it.
Exactly. And it's so interesting? I was thinking about Drake. Drake made $55,000 per year. No, yeah, about between $50,000 and $55,000 per year when he was on Degrassi. And I was like, that ain't no little bit of money, brother. You ain't starting from the bottom, brother.
You definitely didn't start from the bottom.
Not as a teenager. You know what I'm saying? So when you start thinking about things like, shout out to Drake. Drake's one of my favorite rappers. I'm not going to tell you, but at the same time, you know what I'm saying? Don't take this as any slight up Drake.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, just because you start at a certain level doesn't mean you have to stay there.
No.
No.
That's what the d-d-level-up podcast is all about. Exactly. It's about us lifting ourselves from where we are and doing something better and bigger. We know the audience is coming. Yeah. We know that you guys are here. We know the audience is coming now. We got people coming for you, okay?
Exactly.
They coming to watch with you. So be here, okay? Yeah. The one thing that that Dirk shared with me on the social media this week is we were talking about a post by Donnie Wiggins on the Social Proof podcast.
Shout out to Donnie.
Shout out to Donnie Wiggins.
We love you, Donnie.
Big piece of information that most entrepreneurs have this one skill down, and that was discipline. Yeah. And that's what I'm instilling in myself. Showing up to record these episodes is the discipline I need to even do other things in my life. It doesn't just show up in one piece of your life all the time. It's like, and if it does, there's something wrong with the other stuff on the outside, because you're just not paying attention to it then. Like, you have to have the discipline to show up. Yeah. Right? There's so much other stuff to go and do. Yeah, exactly.
There's so many other things. That's the thing. You could be separating your mind to do so many different aspects of life. Like, there's so many things that can overwhelm you. So you really got to learn how to have center focus. Because, she kind of talked about basically any person who's a millionaire or a billionaire, you're always going to see the consistent thread of being disciplined, right? You're not going to see anything less than that in there. That thread is going to be with Mark Cuban, right? Elon Musk. You're going to see these people are disciplined individuals. Also, would not be able to be at the place that they're at. And so sometimes you got to discover, like, we can be disciplined in one area and then be lackadaisical in another area.
You know what bugs me though? Is that I know we just talked about discipline being one of the keys. But it's like when I hear other people talk about it, like, people that interview millionaires and this, that, and the other, and they're talking about how to be a millionaire, you can be a millionaire without too much, like, planning. Like, you can make enough money. You can make the money. You can hustle to get to this point. But, like, if you want to go beyond that point, you got to start being strategic
about it,
about what's going on. It's like, but what is it? The hustle? I'm just talking for myself. Is it the hustle that I'm missing to get beyond these 5 figures?
Or is it desire?
Is it the desire?
I think it's also the desire. So, for instance, I'll give you an example. Like, I remember one thing that I saw at a person. I'm not going to mention their name because they had the same. I went to an event.
Okay.
And Paula White was there, and the person had the same initials as me.
All right.
Which is very controversial person. Which if you know what my initials are, you know who this person is, right? So he was saying something that is was very instrumental that I thought you can learn from anybody. Doesn't mean you want to be you're not putting them up on a pedestal, but you can learn from any person, right?
Right.
And I always have that mental thought. So he said that you should focus on the thing that you love, and you should work that, because he knew a person who was a multimillionaire, right? Had made his money up to a certain point, decides now, he's bored, he retires, right? He's bored, retired. Now this man built up this millions of dollars for millions a year, for many, many years, right? He decides to go into a whole nother place, take his money invested in this place, and lose everything.
Ooh.
And he could have just stayed where he was at.
Right.
This individual was like, I like this, so I invest in the thing that I like, because I could do this where I was getting paid for it or not.
Right.
So now, you can't just have okay, this is your number, $1 million. Once you reach $1 million, then what do? Then you only just reached $1 million, but great. But how is that going to be fulfilling to you? Is that going to be your purpose? I mean, your purpose is just to make $1 million. You make $1 million, you're probably not going to feel any different than you did before you had the $1 million. It's almost like, sometimes the things we expect at a certain point are not what we expect how to feel about them when we're there.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Because we expect, okay, I'm going to feel better when I'm here, when I do this. But sometimes you don't feel any better than you felt when you were over here. So your mindset really has to be on the whole journey aspect of it. I got to enjoy. That's why I enjoy our journey of growing from here to there. Because I already seen myself already there and seen you there already. Right. I already see ourselves on the stage already at Invest Fest or the summit, the podcast summit.
Let's go.
I've seen us there. So when we get there, I'm not going to be like, oh, we supposed to be? No, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, because I've been in my mindset. My mind has been moving toward that. And it's just okay, I'm enjoying. I know we're going to get there eventually. It's going to happen. And the reason I know it's going to happen because I'm doing something that I know is instrumental in being impactful to somebody else's life.
Right.
And I want to do that, and I know that's going to be blessed no matter what. Because I'm not doing it because I want to try to, put myself up there, try to be famous for any other reason. I don't really care about all that stuff. Right. The whole purpose and our purpose is, and Dee's purpose is for us to actually help you get and level up. And the more people we can affect and impact their lives and leveling up, the better I'm going to feel, and feel more fulfilled in doing it, because I want to see you succeed. I want us to succeed so we can help you succeed. So it's not us just succeeding. We want to pull people up.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir, man. That's my thing, But at the same time, I be like, man, do I need a strategy?
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to break this glass ceiling. Bro.
Yeah, bro. This is. You know what?
It's tough.
It's tough. Okay, so I'll give an example. I want to tell you. I want to feed into this. The reason I wanted to feed into this is because I was talking about my app and the things that I needed to do, and this can be applied to anything. So one of the aspects, I got some information from one CEO, then I got some other information from another CEO, and both of these are very successful individuals, right? Right. And so what happens is he told me, one CEO told me, okay, you should pivot so you can go to many different directions. And this other CEO tells me, no, you shouldn't pivot. You can pivot within the industry that you're already in. So instead of you going and trying to figure out, okay, I want to white label this for this project or continue to make it. So white label, you know what white labeling means, right? Right. So you're going to make it accessible, or you're going to be the person, the source, right?
Right. White labeling, guys, is when, let's say you had this phone, and instead of it saying Samsung on the back, you can put your label on the back of it. They'll sell you the product, but it'll be blank. Yeah. And you get to put your own thing. Let's say you bought a cup, don't have nothing on it. You can then put your label on it and sell it how you want to sell it. White labeling. That's the basic one, premise of it. So.
Thank you. Appreciate that, man.
Yes, sir. We got to get it. We're here to teach.
We're here to teach. So, listen. So, what happened, he told me, listen, you have buckets, right? you can create these type of buckets and you create these classifications. But do that within that industry, and then if anything that's an offshoot that's related to other industries, you can use those offshoots and those classifications for what you need, but stay within your industry and then focus on that industry.
Right.
So where this other CEO was saying, well, I want you to be able to go and say you can use your search engine to process information from any type of place, but then that means you got to learn to take the information. Now, is your information being validated? Because it's everywhere. It could be anything, right? So if I pick this industry, that means whatever processing system has to take that information and use it through my application or be used, I'm going to have to find out if that information is correct. And there's going to be so many classifications for every single type of industry.
Right.
Whereas if I just focused on one industry, I can create classifications for that, build that out, and put certain things in certain type of buckets and within that industry, and then I can go from there because it's a lot more easier to control.
I can see how that makes more sense. Well, it makes more sense now.
Now it does.
Right?
Yeah.
So as of right now, it makes sense to be able to do that. Like look, I'm working in this industry.
Yeah.
And I'll reach out to those people in different parts of this industry, and do we have things that we can validate this information with?
Exactly.
Right? So I like it.
Yeah, it helped me. I'll tell you the reason.
Things out.
I'll tell you the reason why I liked it is because this individual is kind of working in a similar aspect of like an industry that he's starting to create even before ChatGPT. In SAS systems, which is different computer systems, and different platforms, and it was never done before. So he's creating another platform. I'm not going to talk about his platform because I don't know what level or where it is on the market. But based on what he told me, he's creating something that has never been done before. So anything that has never been done before, people always look at it a certain type of way. They look at it like, well, I don't know if I believe in what you're doing or whatever the case may be. But at a certain point now, he's got a valuation that's over $5 million for his company, and they haven't even released anything to market yet.
Ooh.
So that tells you that because he's doing that, I hope you guys understand the kind of lingo that I'm talking about. This is between individuals who are creating software, who are trying to create things out of the ideas that they actually have. So for me, my whole mindset is to create something to leave a legacy for things that when I'm gone, there's something that has remained that still affects people's lives.
Right.
In a positive manner.
Well, how do we relate this to breaking the glass ceiling?
So breaking the glass thing is, so in relation to that, I see an individual who's already broken the ceiling. I want to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when I saw him and I was like, man, he was encouraging me. He was very encouraging. Gave me a lot of encouragement. Gave me a lot of understanding. I pretty much wrote down everything he told me. I wish I recorded it. It would have been a great podcast, to be honest with you.
Right.
We probably could get him on later on, maybe.
That'd be dope.
For another time. But with him talking, I realized that there are people out there who are not withholding the information you need to break your glass ceiling. Because all I can see is like, if he's at 5 million and he's instructing me, I have a potential to go there too. So it's just, I've got to be able to have the discipline. Like he told me, of course, initially, this is going to take a lot of work, which he kind of gave me the parameters for what I need to do, which gave me the focus of what I need to do. So I know what I need to do.
Right.
So which is much better from what the other guy told me. It gave me a good viewpoint of seeing different perspectives, but at the same time, it made me feel overwhelmed and frustrated because I didn't have anything for a center focus.
Right.
So now I have a center focus on what I want to do, what I was doing before, which was getting back to bringing my software development team back to where they were supposed to be at, because they were kind of little off kilter. Me changing based on this individual's advice. So, and I was, even as much as I liked what he had to say, and I thought it was great, it took me off kilter too. So now it took off the development team off kilter. But now this guy gave me wisdom and understanding. He probably is at a higher level than this guy is. And so now I'm back on focus of where I need to be focused on. I'm like, good thing I didn't waste a lot of time.
Right.
Just only get it. It's almost like when you go to the doctor, you only get opinion from one doctor, and then you find out this guy misdiagnosed you.
Yeah, it's tough, man. But I think that's part of the entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
It's like like there are distractions. There are things that's gonna come and be like, yo, you should change this up. Like you should move this around. And you got to make a decision on whether you want to do that or not. Yeah. Sometimes it works out, and sometimes it don't.
And you know, the thing is, you know, even thinking about the glass ceiling that we have, like there's a certain period of time, like I think sometimes you might be, even with us, right? We've gotten someone to donate to us. That's a ceiling. Right. That's something that's gone now. It's like we celebrated it.
That's done. It's been broken.
Done. It's been broken. And that's really, to be honest with you, a very powerful thing. If somebody's willing to invest, and we do appreciate you, Missy, for investing, thank you so much. Any person who's willing to invest in you, you've convinced them that the idea that you have is worthy enough to be invested in the first place. So what is it that you actually need to do in order to break the glass ceiling? Literally is going back to ourselves. Like, you got to ask yourself the right question. What are the questions I need to do, or what are the things I know I should be doing that I'm not doing? You know, right. And how do I compartmentalize, which is the hardest word, but I'm getting it better every day. You know, compartmentalize the things that I need that are expressly my priority. Like, the more I find about people who are like Elon Musk and Mark Cuban and people who are billionaires and millionaires, the efficiency, you know, we need to put this on a t-shirt. Success loves speed.
Success, yes, it does.
So
it's waiting for you to hurry. It's waiting for you to hurry up.
It's waiting for you to hurry up. To be honest with you, if you're fast in implementing things, that is what's going to get you past the glass ceiling. It's our ability to stop procrastinating, stop being afraid of doing the thing we know we're supposed to be doing, but we're not doing, and then we're focusing on all these things that are distracting us, knowing that this is what you're supposed to do, and not focusing on that. Because really, everything has to do with focus and discipline. And even in this situation like this week, just even talking to this individual helped me to bring my focus back to attention, back where I know where it needs to be at.
Then you can speed.
Then you can go speed. And so now it is, the only thing that stops you from speeding is now procrastination. Yeah. You being afraid that you're actually going to be successful.
Claiming that all these other things are stopping you.
Exactly.
When you said you had to say yes to all those other things.
Exactly. That's the thing. We talked about that before. Excuse me. We talked about the fact that you can say, you know, people who focus and get things done say yes to one thing and no to everything. Ooh. You know, yes to one thing, no to everything else. That's how they're getting things done. And the thing is, we have so many things that can cause distractions in our lives, mentally, physically, emotionally. All these things can cause distraction. But the people who get, like, if you think about Elon Musk, where he's got to from his point of his start point, it took him like 10 years to really get to certain aspects, getting knowledge, understanding, to get to the place where he wanted to be at. So we always think, oh, it's going to happen overnight. Now, being a millionaire can be a goal. You remember I saw a message with Creflo Dollar. He was so busy in his purpose, they didn't even notice that they became a millionaire at the first. So sometimes it's not even good to even focus on the money aspect of it. It's good to focus on, okay, my passion and what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to accomplish. And then the money comes along with it. Yeah. It'll just come, you know, at the same time. Because you're not really, because to be honest with you, once you get the money, then you're going to be like, oh, okay, I got the money. Okay, what do I do now? You know, so you don't want to be focused on only money. Money is a great measuring stick to a certain extent. But in our purpose, I think you shouldn't measure yourself by how much you make, because then sometimes when people measure themselves by how much they earn, they think that they're better than other people just because they're earning more money. Oh man. You know? And to me, that's like insecurity. So I don't need to be in a place where I can't learn from anybody just because I have more money than you.
Yeah, it's crazy, that money thing, man. People think that you get to a certain level, like you just stop. People should stop talking to you. Like, why you? Like, why you talking to me? How dare you? How dare you? I'm a millionaire. Exactly. It's a crazy. I got a funny story about that. Steve Harvey. Shout out to Steve Harvey. Shout out Steve Harvey has this story where he was telling the day he found out he was a millionaire. And he was like, man, I found out I was a millionaire. I went out and had dinner that night, and then I wasn't a millionaire. He was like, I went out that night, had a dinner, paid for everybody. It was about $300-400, maybe $800, something like that. He said, then I had $992, $100,000 left, and I wasn't a millionaire again. It was like he had to get back at it. It was like you 1 minute you're a millionaire, the next minute you're not.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That money moves.
That money moves.
And it flows, and you can't let it sit with you in the road. There's, we told this story. We tell this story about having those talents, and when you don't use them, and when you don't use the money, the currency needs to flow.
Yeah.
Just like in the DJ Bay episode, y'all go back and check that out.
Come on.
You understand?
So
we talked about that. We talked about, making money grow and doing things with it. And I'm so focused on making certain things happen, bro. I'm just like, look, like I'm like I need, like I want the money to flow.
Yeah.
Like I need it. Like Lord, I need it.
I need it to flow.
I need it to flow, Lord God.
Yeah.
Flow.
Yeah.
Whatever you need to do. Okay, cool. All right. Moving forward, right? I'm like breaking the glass ceiling, leveling myself up. The growth in this podcast and the growth in our audience right now is fulfilling to me, bro. I need this to move and shake like it's been moving and shaking, and it's working, and I'm with the plan. And man, we gotta work this thing, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know the thing about it, I was looking at Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Terrific, right? What's his name, Mr. Terrific?
Mr. Terrific.
So
Mr. Wonderful?
Yeah, Mr. Wonderful. It's Mr. Wonderful.
Something like that.
Yeah, Mr. Wonderful. So Mr. Wonderful was saying that his mother, when he first started out, says the reason why people are broke is because they live beyond their means. And a lot of times you have to start analyzing. I have to look at some things even within myself. I'm like, am I spending more than I earn?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're spending more than you earn. You have things in place mentally that you put it into you kind of like have a synapses, or you have like a mental idea of certain things that you should be doing based on sometimes your parents,
right?
Friends and people around you. I remember this lady was talking about on this Hustler's Hood. Shout out to Hustler's Hood. So she was saying that sometimes these young people will grow up and they'll see their parents going through all this stuff, and they're trying to advise them on how to be a certain way, but they're looking at them like, you're broke. Why am I listening to you and you're telling me to do this, but you're not there yourself? I'm
trying to get past that.
Exactly.
I'm tired of having this great advice, and then I'm like nobody wants to take it because you're not there, and I'm like, but I'm there.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm there.
Exactly.
Like, I'm getting there. Like, you can't stop me.
You can't stop me.
You can't stop me. I'm getting there. So
yeah.
I'm like, okay, all this advice is gonna be something else when we. I'm like,
exactly.
Hey, come on.
Exactly.
Come on. Like I'm me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? That's how I feel about myself too.
Like I'm me.
I'm me. Like you don't understand.
Like
I'm not you.
The stuff that God has imparted on my life, the things that I've gotten to do.
Yeah.
I am every day. I should be every day. I got down a little bit this week. I started feeling a little ways about myself and about how things are going. But then I was like, look,
gotta get up.
I gotta get up. I tell Mo, I said, look, this is what I'm going through.
Yeah.
This is what I'm dealing with. I just called her and was like, look.
Yeah.
She was like, pray about it. It's like, if you need to take off, take off.
Yeah.
If you're feeling yourself, you know what I'm saying? You're not feeling yourself right now. Remember that you got this and you got that, and you should be grateful for this and grateful for that. Yeah. And I thank her for that.
Yeah.
And it was just like, all right, time to click.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm me.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got to recognize that in yourself, because you know, we talked about this, like, I think maybe 2 weeks ago, that I was kind of feeling a certain way based on just trying to get this app going. You know, you want to try to get investors. You're trying to figure out where you're supposed to go. And you're like, man, what am I even doing this for?
Just out here wandering.
What am I doing?
Like,
this?
hey.
You know what's so weird is the guy told me the exact same thing. He was like, man, you're going to think about, like, why am I even doing this? This is so hard to do. Why am I even doing this? Like, is there, what's the reason? You got to have your why has to be very important. Right. I tell people this all the time. Your why for anything that you do must be your primary focus. If your why is not there, and you're just doing it for a random reason, you're not going to be successful at it because you don't have a really strong why you're doing it. You know, so my purpose is to like impact people through this app in a beneficial way, financially and other aspects, right? So if I want to affect change in something that was brought into me by God, the idea was given to me by God. So I'm going to take that idea, I'm going to carry it through. That's my purpose. You know what I'm saying? My purpose is to carry ideas that God gives me through, whether it was with the podcast or any other thing. Excuse me, guys.
Yeah.
So any type of situation is that I want to bring forth, I've got to be like, okay, God has prepared me to do it in some way. He obviously trusts me, like we said this before, he trusts me obviously to carry it through, or else why would he put it in my hands in the first place? You know? And if that's the case, I know the end is going to be this way, because this is what I envisioned for it. Because it has to be that way, because I'm moving toward it. But kind of speaking to what you were talking about, I did not feel like doing anything.
Oh my God.
2 weeks ago. I was like, I'm overwhelmed.
Bro, yeah.
This don't make any sense. I ain't seeing where the money and the funds is coming in from this thing. And I'm like, gosh, should we even waste that time? Maybe we should just take this money and just apply it to this.
Then you get in your should bag.
Exactly.
This should do this and that should do that.
This?
I was like, I ain't even do nothing to get this should.
Exactly.
But I want the should to be.
Exactly.
I ain't say nothing. I ain't open my mouth. It's a crazy.
It's a spiral.
Crazy spiral to get into.
Yeah.
And I believe that's like going to be our third tip, man. You got to know. Our third tip was to be aware.
Yeah.
Be aware of what's going on. And 4 was to pick yourself back up.
Yeah.
Know yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Know yourself.
Know yourself. Know thyself.
Know thyself. And we're going to leave you guys with that right there. Right here on the D&D Leveling Up Podcast. And if you don't know, now you know. That's right, guys. Deuces. Check out the next podcast. Love you.
Love you. Peace.
Peace. We need to find an old TV station. Huh? We just left.